Hey there, Becky here. In this video, I would like to talk to you about time blocking. So first, let's talk about what a time block is, and then I'll talk to you about how to do it. And then talk a little bit about the benefits of time blocking. So first of all, time blocking is a time management tool that allows you to take more control over your time and helps you to be more productive. And a time block is literally a block of time that you create and you set aside to do your work. Okay, so here's the steps to time blocking. So first, I want you to look at your schedule for the week and block off times that you can work. So be very specific about the times you're going to work during the coming week. This isn't a forever schedule, it's just your schedule for this week. If you have a day job, then look at your evenings and decide when you can work on your dissertation, right? Maybe it's Monday nights from 7 to 9 p.m., Tuesday night from 6 to 7. So just acknowledging that each night might be very different, right? And if you have, something that's going on Wednesday or whatever, then maybe Wednesday evening, then maybe you try to fit in a little time block during your lunch break during the day. You put in a little Pomodoro, 25 minutes, and you try to get something done then. But just be very specific about each day of the coming week. And then I want you, step 2 is to put those in your calendar. Okay, so now that you've decided when you can work, and then I want you to put them in your calendar. And then step 3 is list what kinds of tasks that you are next on your agenda to get done, okay? And also think of how long those things are going to take you. So even just writing the list, like I need to read 5 articles. How long do I think each of those are going to take? I need to write, 3 pages, or I need to write, this section of a chapter. So try to be clear about how much time it's going to take you, because that's something that you can learn over time as you play around with it. So if you decide that you're going to read 4 articles, maybe you say, okay, it's only going to take me an hour. It's going to take me an hour to read 4 articles, but it takes you 2 hours. Well, now you know, okay? Or vice versa. You say it's going to take me, an hour to read 1 article, but it only takes you, half an hour. Then you're learning, right? Okay, stop there. Okay, then I want you to put each of your tasks into a time block. And understand that you can flex them as you need to, right? But now there's literally an appointment in your calendar for reading those 4 articles or writing that section of your of a draft of something, right? So you're being very specific. In this time period on Wednesday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., I am going to be reading 2 articles, right? And these 2 articles, like exactly what you're doing. So you're being really specific as possible, so that each time that you leave a work period, you know exactly what you're doing the next time you sit down to work, and you know when it's going to be, right? Okay, then I want you to be thinking about where you're going to work. So it's really critical to, as you're time blocking, to put in the when, which is the time block, the what, the task, and the where. The more specific you are with yourself, the more that you're, the higher the possibility that you're actually going to follow through and get it done. Okay. So are you going to work in your home office? Are you going to work at the dining room table? Are you going to go to a coffee shop and work? Are you going to the library? Are you going to a friend's house to do some co-working? Whatever it is, be really clear. Wednesday, 8 a.m. This is what I'm doing and where I'm doing it. Okay. And then I want you to set aside each week. I want you to set aside a time that you're going to do your time blocking for the week. So is it Sunday nights that you look at your whole week and that's when you time block? Is it Monday morning? There's the kind of a tool called Monday Hour 1, right? Where it's like first thing that you do Monday morning is to look at your week, time block, set up your tasks, and get clear on that. So you decide when is best for you. Okay. And then as an added bonus, you can, if you want to like take it up a level and become a time blocking pro, you can schedule every part of your day. It doesn't even need to be your working parts of, or your dissertation parts of your day. You can say, I am, going to my day job from 9 to noon. I have lunch from 12 to 12:30. I time block dissertation 12:30 to 1. I work from 1 to 5. I go home. I get to hang out and breathe a little bit. And you time block, like, I get a break from this time. I have dinner from this time. And then I work again, from 9 to 10 p.m. or whatever. But for some people, it feels good to actually like time block each moment of their day. When do I check my emails? Do I do that first thing in the morning from 8 a.m. to 8:30? Right? When do I do the laundry? I'm going to time block that in too, so that you're really intentional about how you're scheduling your days. Okay, so who is time blocking for? First of all, it's for very busy people, right? Because busy people feel like they never have enough time to do their dissertation, to work on their dissertation. And so it can feel really relieving to know that you've time blocked the week and you're like, okay. So when you start to get panicked, like, oh my God, I'm not doing anything on my dissertation. It's like, no, but I know on Tuesday from 1 to 3, I've got a time block that I get to do some work. Right. So it can be quite a relief to know that you're getting something done. So for busy people, it takes the pressure off of wondering about when they're going to get their work done. Okay. And it helps them to just know that they're going to do it. Right. It's like you're creating the time to do it, even though your life is very busy. It's also for people with a lot of time that aren't quite as busy. Maybe they took some time off to write their dissertation, but now they've got swaths of time, right? So if you're the kind of person, or on weekends, some people are like, okay, I'm going to work all day on Saturday. That often doesn't work so well, right? If you're going to work on Saturday, what are your time blocks? Are you going to start at 9 a.m.? And then when are you going to take some breaks because you need to take some breaks? Are you going to plan on doing that in time chunks? Or sometimes if you've got like a longer day, it's more like activity chunks. Okay, after I finish these 4 articles. But it's really helpful because, again, time can just disappear when you've got a lot of time, or when you feel like you've got a lot of time, unless you're very intentional about it. So for people that have big swaths of time, it's very helpful to also time block so that you can stay focused and really clear and realistic about what you're going to be doing. Okay, some reasons for time blocking. So when you time block, you are focused on your blocks of time, and you learn how long things take over time, right? So if I say I'm going to read 4 articles and I know that I've given myself 1 hour to do it and it takes me much longer or much shorter, then I'm learning how long it actually takes me to read articles, so I can be more realistic in my future time blocks, okay? Remember about Parkinson's law. So Parkinson's law says work expands to fill the time available for its completion. Okay, which means that if you give yourself 5 hours to read 4 articles, it's going to take you 5 hours. If you give yourself an hour and a half, then you're going to be way more focused and do your very best to get it done in that period of time. So by limiting your time that you give yourself for specific tasks, the more focused you're going to be to get it done. Okay, so challenge yourself to work smarter, not harder or more, right? But really, the more time that you just are really motivated and focused and intentional about getting something done, as opposed to just kind of sitting back and I'm just going to read these articles, right? That can take way too long. So be intentional, focused, sit down, have a plan, have at least a guess of how long you're going to give yourself to do something and get to work on it. Time blocking also gives you control over your time, because you know when and how much time you're giving to your dissertation, and that feels good. And you also know that you're making progress on your dissertation. It's not, you don't have that sense of, oh, I did nothing, right? Even if it's an hour a week, that is something, or 1 Pomodoro week, or 1 Pomodoro a day. I don't know what it is, but anything's better than nothing. And the more conscientious and intentional you can be about giving yourself the time, creating the time, the better you're going to feel about it. Also, really important is when you time block, it gives you an excuse to say no to other things. So many of us don't prioritize ourselves and our dissertations. And so everything else takes precedent over it, right? It takes priority. And so what I want you to do is, if you have a time block, if you have a time block from Tuesday 1 to 3, you're going to do some work, but a friend calls and asks you for coffee. It's like, I'm sorry, I'm busy, because you do. I have an appointment during that time, because you did make an appointment with yourself. You can't do coffee then. Find another time that you can have coffee. Having said that, if your friend calls and says, my dog is sick and I really need your emotional support and I need your help, and you feel like you need to do that, go do that. But then you have to find that time block. You need to replace that. So if you had said Tuesday 1 to 3, I'm going to be doing those 2 hours of work, and you gave it to somebody else, you need to find it somewhere else, if at all possible, right? Okay, so it gives you a reason to say yes to yourself, right? It also prevents procrastination, right? Because you've made a commitment to yourself. So you don't find yourself in an open hour and go, maybe I should probably work on my dissertation, and then start scrolling Facebook or Instagram, and then you never get to it. No, you have created your time blocks, and you're going to stick with them. Okay, so other key points to remember. One is create realistic time blocks. So only create time blocks you're actually going to follow through on. Don't say you're going to work from 8 to 10 p.m. when you know you have no energy at the end of the day, right? So don't even pretend, be very realistic. And if you time block your days away and it feels bad, like you feel trapped by it, then redo it, do something different, okay? With everything that I teach you, I want you to play with it, experiment with it, and see what works for you. And so if you try this and it doesn't work, then I want you to shift it, to make it what you need it to be, okay? This is also, when I'm saying realistic time blocks, I also want to kind of generalize that to realistic goals in your dissertation in general. Don't want to be saying, I'm going to write an entire chapter this weekend, right? You need to be way more realistic. Chop things down into little goals and say, Saturday morning, I'm going to write this much, or this is my goal. And this afternoon, this is my goal, or whatever it is, but make your goals doable and attainable and make them small so that you can achieve them one by one. Another key point to remember is to respect yourself by respecting your time blocking, right? So do the work in the block that you set aside to do. I know for myself often when I sit down, I was like, okay, I've got this time block and this is what I'm going to do. If I open up my email, I will get lost over there in that. And then all of a sudden, a half hour, an hour is gone. And I'm like, oh my God, I didn't do what I told myself I was going to do. And it feels bad, right? Because I'm like, I had the option and I did the other thing. Now, was it important to look at my email? Probably, but I needed to set other time aside for that. This was not the time to do it, right? So respect and follow through on your own time blocking. Okay, and lastly, know your energy. Like I mentioned before, if you're not a night person, don't plan on working at night. Be really realistic with yourself. I am a morning person, totally. Way better for me to get up early, and work from 6:30 to 8 than to pretend that I'm going to work at 9 o'clock at night. It just ain't going to happen. So just be really realistic with yourself that if you're a morning person, find your times then. If you're an evening person, great, do your times then. But just honor your own rhythms. All right, I hope that you found this helpful. Good luck to you, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.